How things have changed over the last 15, 20 years since I started working on the first edition. At that time, the focus of instruction in adult ESL was primarily on basic life skills. For example, things like banking, shopping, enrolling your children at school. And while those things are really important for newcomers to any country, we know that the demands of work, school, and engagement in the community are far more complex than that. So today we're putting much more focus on 21st century skills such as digital competence, critical thinking skills, collaboration, and effective communication. Now, the focus on literacy and language development is still central to the text, but it's combined with those other more complex, demanding skills, with the goal that all learners should be provided an opportunity to thrive in their new communities. Another big difference in the new edition is that the first one was written for the U.S. audience only. We talked a lot about assessments, accountability standards within the United States, but this time we've written it for a much more global audience, whether that be teachers working in Toronto or Melbourne or Minneapolis. We've drawn on more resources, references, and teacher voices, which again, that was in the first edition, a lot of teacher voices and vignettes, but this time they're drawn from teachers in different parts of the world, not just the United States. Well, in the simplest terms, learners need to be at the center of everything that we do in the classroom. So what I see as the teacher's primary responsibility is to determine what the needs and the wants and the goals are of students and then develop instruction accordingly. Learners might come with maybe an advanced degree or a credential from their country, or they may have interrupted prior formal schooling. So it's our job to determine what those needs are and make sure that we're truly responding to those to create the most learner-centered environment possible. Now, learner-centered instruction doesn't mean that the teacher doesn't have a role. I think the most effective learner-centered lesson is one that's been really carefully directed and oftentimes kind of behind the scenes. But it's the teacher's job to do that, and I think that the book continues to provide teachers with the supports that they need to provide that kind of instruction. Another thing is that teachers need to assess learning all of the time and then adjust their instruction accordingly. And with that, it's knowing about the assessments, the accountability standards, what's happening sort of with the system in which they're working. But at the same time, they need to then marry those accountability standards or assessments with what the learner's goals and needs are. And there too, we spent a lot of time, like in the first edition, but even more so in this edition, in looking at how we can do that. So in the end, what Teaching Adult English Language Learners serves to do, I hope, is to provide teachers with the tools they need to create the most optimal learning environment for English language learners.